friends, my lovely audiences, welcome to the East-West Show. Jack Chow, your host with GNE TV on the East-West Show for many, many years. And starting a year ago, we add this up with the weekly update. Namely, we're talking about Donald Trump, our president. It is good always to keep an eye on this country. By that, I mean, especially you pay attention to what our President Donald Trump is doing. And of course, I was not a supporter, and I have not been, and I am not. But whenever he does something good, I'm in support. I'm kind of supporting what is right. So with me today for this update, weekly update, is my dear friend, my brother kind of friend, who I argue a lot, but most of the time I love you.
Absolutely, most of the time. Today is the exception.
Yeah. When I hate you,
won't like me today.
When I hate you, I hate a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot, right?
Today's dedicated to hate.
Mr. Ken Hemming of PCC Foundation, and he is a chairman of the audit group.
I am.
And also he is a writer with a beautiful book that stays next to my pillow, or next in between me and my wife. How about that?
I like that.
Yeah, next to my pillow.
Yeah. My mind is going crazy.
All right, good. And he is a lover to the community. He's a lover to the lifestyle, I would say positive lifestyle. And by that I mean, most importantly, he is, quote unquote, he says, very constitutional.
Right. I believe in our Constitution and live for it.
Man of Constitution, welcome back to the show on the weekly.
So happy to be here with another fellow friend that loves President Trump.
Very good. All right, good. And also by that, I need a little declaration that we delayed a little bit because his holiday, his vacation or kind of holiday, and we do it now. And in 3 days down the road, we're doing this week's weekly update. So for the one we're talking about, we're gonna pack all things of the previous week and also starting 2 days of this week, right? How about that?
And for me to be with you and your viewers twice in a week, hallelujah. I'm a happy boy.
Very good, very good. And after the coming Friday, I will be gone a little bit because I'm taking my little tiny vacation for 10 business days, and that will be a little blank. You're gonna miss lots of weekly update. But when we come back, we'll also do it in a very compact way about all these weeks left.
Well, Jack, and you know you're irreplaceable, and your viewers and myself, we will miss you very much.
Thank you for saying that. And that I wish myself a long life.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, we need you.
100 years old.
We
all right,
need
good.
you.
All right, thank you. For the week past and also the past few days, 2 days, what update do you have?
Well, one thing I think that we should start with is, I don't know why President Trump would ever want to come to California. It's not particularly friendly to him, but he did come to California.
Was his first time?
I don't think he ever came here when he was campaigning.
No, not
right.
First time ever. He's been to California.
He's been everywhere.
He's been to California and many times where he was not a president.
Yeah.
But within his presidency, as the president though, he did the first time.
Right.
Okay,
the first place he went to, he was in our state, by the way, for 22 hours, in and out. Okay.
All right,
then one of the real difficult things, just when any president goes to visit someplace, and he stayed at the Intercontinental Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. And they used to, what did they call it? When Obama went someplace, the traffic and everything just gets totally messed up. And with President Trump, it was the same thing. So things were just chaotic with congestion in downtown LA. But
it was exactly so.
It was horrible.
Yeah. 30 miles, 35 mile radiation, no fly zone. No fly zone above, from ground above, no helicopters, nothing higher, whatever. It's a 35 in radiation at ground level.
Yeah.
And this way, no limit.
And what I found interesting is he helicoptered from LAX airport into Dodger Stadium, and then from Dodger Stadium take them to the hotel, and then they take them back to Dodger Stadium, helicopter over. So that's a nice use of our beautiful baseball park. Okay.
No convoy, right?
Yeah. Well, the convoy from the hotel to the stadium, yes, which
All right,
was
okay.
horrible. Okay. But anyway,
okay.
first place he went was San Diego.
Okay.
And he went to look at the 8 prototypes of what we hope the Mexican border wall will look like, to pick out, identify the pros and cons of each of the prototypes.
One of 50 feet in extension, I believe.
Well, they're
Short walls.
Well, they're not. Well, yeah, these were. I'm not sure how wide they were. I can visualize them. I don't know whether it's 24 feet or whatever. They're all pretty tall. Some you can see through because you kind of want to see who's coming toward the wall. And so there hasn't been any public comment about what. See, these were 8 different potential manufacturers of the wall that were presenting what they recommended, and that's good. Okay.
Both he himself
Yeah.
and professionals recognize that there are wall climbers in this world.
Well, and there's also tunnel diggers.
Yeah, tunnel
Right.
diggers, wall climbers.
But to the average illegal entering our country illegally is not a wall climber.
Yeah, will be
Because
reduced.
it's not hard. I mean, it's not easy to climb 25,
Oh
30
yeah, of
feet,
course.
40 feet up.
The majority of them,
Yeah.
neither wall
Yeah.
climbers nor tunnel diggers, right?
Right.
I'm talking about it will be effective somewhere, somehow,
Oh, yeah.
somewhat, somehow, right?
Right.
Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, now, so prototype is one thing.
Right.
To see a concrete wall is the other. So how
Well,
far
yeah.
are we from, in between?
Well, Congress is really, including Democrats, have already approved the construction of a wall. They just haven't approved the funding yet. And so it's $25 billion. Very recently, like yesterday, Trump said, look, give me the money for the wall and I'll get the 800,000 dreamers, give them legal status and a path to citizenship. And the Democratic Party rejects it because they want the issue, they don't want the solution. This is my opinion. You might disagree. But see, as long as they've got something to talk and cry and whine about, well, what are we going to do with the dreamers? Then they think they have power in their agenda.
I don't necessarily mean to argue with you or
No
disagree with you. I just offer my opinions for
Yes.
discussion.
Right.
Right. Now, by nature, even though these two issues are towards the same target, immigration
Yes,
or
sir.
illegal immigration,
Yeah.
they are separate issues.
Well,
By nature.
not in this. By nature, they are.
By nature, they are not, because
Right.
when you talk about dreamer, when you are talking about 11 million of undocumented, you're talking about existing problem. Every single day, they need to eat, they need to drink, they need to work, they need to go sleep, they need a roof over their head.
It shouldn't be our responsibility, though.
No,
to provide all
no.
that.
What? Ken, please,
Yeah, right.
please come down, right? We should not is another issue.
Oh, okay.
The point is, for example, I hurt my finger cooking last night, for
Right.
example.
Yes, sir.
And then the next morning when I see anybody, they will say, oh, you should be careful. I should be careful.
You should be
right?
careful.
But the problem is that I do have a open wound
Right.
on a cut finger,
Right.
so that I need some medical attention.
Right.
I should or should
good.
not is a different issue.
Right.
Do you agree with me on that part, please?
Jack, you're a brilliant guy. Yes,
Thank you very much.
I love what you just
Thank
said.
you very much. And then let's move from that to the wall. I kind of used to go against the wall. Now that with things going this kind of extent, in depth already, well, probably it's not a bad thing to put up a wall. Like you say, if among 100 border crossers,
Right.
there are 10 wall climbers and 20 go canal diggers.
Yeah, tunnels, yeah.
I'm sorry, tunnel diggers.
Right.
Okay, now there are at least, well, 80 of them that you can stop.
Right.
Right. So now we got a job done 80%. That's another issue.
Okay.
And now, when you are mixing this issue together, using it as a bargaining chips, I would say either party are wrong.
Well, what you say may be correct. However, it's not reality. Reality is the Democrats are using that as a weapon, and see, Trump also just said, look, we'll put off the chain immigration, which I'm totally opposed to, and the lottery, which is even worse than chain immigration. He says, I'll give you 800,000, not 1,800,000, like you said before. Give me the wall, and then we've got a solution, and then we'll work on the other thing separately. But they're not going to do it, and it's going to hurt the Democratic Party when we get around to the midterm elections.
I go see my doctor for my cut. My doctor says I don't have an office yet, and I want you to put up an office for me so that I can sit there and I can attend to your medical needs.
Sure.
How about that?
Fine.
My doctor says if you don't put an doctor office for me, and I'll give no medical attention to your cut.
Yeah.
How about that? Sound fair to you? Please be honest.
Fair. I don't believe in the word fair, because what's fair to you might not be fair to me. What's fair to me might not be. Because fair is all, it's never objective.
Fair to the wound. How about that?
Well,
fair to the cut.
Fair to the wound, yeah.
Fair to the finger.
Right. You need
fair to the pen.
That I will.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay,
that I
now.
will. Yes.
That you agree with.
Totally.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now.
You need
so
help.
it is to me a situation similar to this. So when we are asking about legalize whatever, provide a green channel for these 800,000 and 11 million, right? There's supposed to be a way. If everybody sit around the table, think about this way, think about finding a solution of dealing with this, I give them both hands.
Okay.
If anyone says, give me this, or otherwise I don't agree.
Well, that's what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Yeah, that is the part that I, even though feel that I'm not against any, I don't agree.
Yeah.
So that part?
Yeah.
Okay, now,
so
back.
Let's get back to his visit here. So he went there, he looked at those, and he met with people that have designed the walls. And
even he himself said that it's not high enough for climbers.
Well, yeah, right. Well, they can put things at the top of the wall, that can dissuade you from climbing if you get electrocuted if you touch the top or whatever. Okay. But anyway, that's not what they're recommending. But there's things you can do.
You put a tap wire on it with electricity, because you're going to face a humidity issue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. But you can also have. You could have a beam that when somebody gets to the top of the wall, then somebody looking at the radar thing can say, "Hey, people are coming over here." But anyway, so after that, then President Trump came up to
capture them, not shoot them, like what they did the Berlin Walls.
Well, they've killed a lot of us. Okay, Jack, I'll tell you that they've killed a lot of us coming
Once
over.
again, you're talking about retaliation.
Well, primarily we're talking about
humanity. We're talking about humanity as civilized world.
Okay, and tell them that too, please. Okay, but now anyway, so then he comes up to L.A. So here's what he did. Then he goes, like all politicians. Okay,
you're terrible.
He goes
go ahead.
He goes to a fundraiser. It's at a house owned by the Glazers in Beverly Park, big mama mansion, and of course there. Traffic was unbelievable too. A lot of celebrities and a lot of wealthy people lived there, and they couldn't even get back to their own house. But it cost you. He was there for several hours. I don't know what.
$100,000 for a handshake?
No. The lowest amount was $35,000 up to $250,000. So
did you go?
No, I don't.
I wish you
think I was taking a nap. But everybody raises money. They want to raise money for the upcoming elections.
If he's going to shake my hand, I charge him only $5,000.
Yeah,
I'm cheap.
Yep, it's your appearance fee.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. My appearance fee $5,000.
But it was, and it's catered, and there's, bar and hors d'oeuvres. But it was
that's different.
Very. we don't know how many went there. We don't know. We don't
everyone
have the names.
has his own fans. Well, that's not a problem.
Absolutely,
okay.
right.
My dear friend, today with my good friend Ken Hemming, we're doing the belated weekly update. We are talking about, we started with the Trump visit to California as his first one during his presidency. Stay with us. We'll be right back, please. Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences, my dear fellow Americans. Welcome back to the weekly update with my friend Ken Hemming. Yes, we're talking about Donald Trump visiting California. Your top impression, was he welcome in California?
Well, there were supporters, and there were, of course, a lot of people that were protesters. And so, I mean, they were both outside the Intercontinental Hotel. Look, California, the people that run California governmentally don't believe in following laws and they detest President Trump because he believes in the Constitution. A lot of people don't believe in the Constitution anymore. On my trip to the tennis event, my sister said the Constitution was written 240 years ago or whatever. It should be rewritten. It's not appropriate anymore. That is the scare of America, that if this country loses its heart, loses its soul, we lose our country. And we lose it to socialism, or worse.
That probably deserves another day of discussion.
Sure. Right.
For a constitution itself.
Right.
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 It is so sacred. It's so sacred that once it is written, it is there as the guideline of the whole nation forever.
But you've got,
that we wish.
And you got the Oakland mayor.
That said, the Constitution has endured 27 amendments already, starting from 1789 to 1922. Right.
Yep.
27 amendment already.
And none of those diminish the Constitution.
No, of course.
Yeah.
No. Nobody is talking about diminishing the Constitution.
They are.
And all the 27 is amendment. It's called amendment. The total are amendment. Even the first 10 bills of Bill of Rights are amendments, right? So now we are amending because time is developing. Time is evolving, right? So
let me ask this question then.
It is not wrong to keep amending it.
Jack, there are millions and millions in America that want to get rid of the Freedom of Speech Amendment, the Bill of Rights, and to get rid of the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. They want to get rid of that. It would no longer be the United States of America. They want to get rid of it.
I'm not talking about amendment number 2, neither do I talk about 1, or neither do I talk 5th, right? I'm talking about the Constitution as a whole represents its own time when it was written.
No, it represents the eternal time.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I do.
No, nothing would represent eternity.
The Bible does, Jack.
No, Bible doesn't do that.
Okay.
Bible doesn't do. Anyway,
so we disagree on that.
We can argue all for another show,
another way.
We can argue.
Agreements.
We can argue the rest of our lives on these two issues. My whole point is nothing is eternal.
I disagree.
Right.
So that's okay.
All the different books about even about Bible though, why there are different books? Because later people want to add up things. All right. Yeah. Anyway, now, except to the visit, what else comes on top of your?
Well, the hottest
list?
Story in America right now is the firing of the number 2 person in the FBI, Andrew McCabe. Now, just to give
2 days before his retirement, right?
Well, as is absolutely the right thing to do. Okay. Here's the deal with McCabe. All right, he's been there 21 years. Big deal. He's worked his way up. That's fine. That's admirable. But also, he was in charge of the investigation into Hillary and her servers off-site, not protected, endangering the security of America. He was in charge of that investigation, which, as we see through all the emails of many sources now, was fixed to never indict her for anything, no matter what she did. Also, he was in charge. He's in charge essentially because Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, recused himself from being involved in the Russian investigation, so he's in charge of the Russian investigation. And McCabe's wife, ran for state senator in Virginia and got $700,000 from the Clinton Foundation. Now, he's investigating Hillary, and his wife's getting $700,000, and all these emails are saying we can't let Trump become president, we despise him and that. Holy cow. The OPR, the Office of Professional Responsibility of the FBI, investigated McCabe, and that he is a leaker and a liar. He leaked secret information through people that he allowed to talk to media, that he gave them the permission to talk to media about things that should not have been in the public domain.
Such as?
Well, we could go through a whole lot of that. I'd have to look at my notes here, which I have it all here.
Okay.
But it was to a journal, a liberal journal, and then he lied about it when he was being investigated and interviewed under oath. He lied about what he did. He said he didn't do what he said he did, and so the FBI wants honesty, integrity, loyalty. They want proper propriety. They want the people to perform. I love the FBI. They're great guys, but the top of it is full of people conspiring against our president.
I understand.
So he deserved. Now, by the way, he'll get most of his pension because the money he put into his own pension, you can't take that away from him.
I have two questions. Right. Question number one. What would it cost him, when I say him, I mean Donald Trump, and the country? When I say country, I mean United States of America.
Right.
What would it cost him and the country if he delays the firing for 2 more days? Wait until he retires.
Because that's the wrong thing to do. Because he will probably be indicted and charged with criminal activities. What he did are felons. Now, Hillary did criminal activities, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people, and she hasn't been charged with anything yet. Hopefully that will come.
No.
But so
I'm talking
it's
about,
irrelevant what it will cost the country.
We want to base our discussion based on actual facts or factual, right?
His felonies are actual facts.
No. It's not confirmed yet. He's only accused of that, right? It's allegation.
Well, they have proof.
Right?
Okay, so we'll see what happens.
They will not have proof.
They do have
Until
proof.
they do, they do.
They do have proof. He has admitted leaking, Jack.
Anyway, now.
Yeah, okay.
As a director of the FBI or the department, the whole department of FBI,
right?
Is the department supposed to be loyal to the President of the United States?
No, just the standards.
Or to the system, or it has its own independence.
FBI agents on the Office of Professional Responsibilities segment portion of the FBI investigated McCabe. They identified that he lied and leaked. Leaked first, so leaked and lied, and recommended that he be fired. Now.
All right. Okay.
So Trump didn't fire him. I mean, the radical left says, "Oh, Trump fired him." He didn't fire him at all. And Jeff Sessions followed.
FBI recommended
that
he be fired.
The own department,
and he was fired.
Right.
And the firing was fired by Donald Trump.
No, that's not true. No, not true.
No.
Trump did not fire him.
Who signs the firing paper?
Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General.
Jeff Sessions
Yeah.
signs? And why they say that Donald Trump fires
Have
him?
you ever heard of fake news? Have you ever heard of lies from the left? They're lying.
No.
Trump did not fire him, Jack, period.
Okay, no.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Second question. When they talk about investigation, though,
Yes, sir.
what investigation they refer to?
Well, I'm not sure what your question is.
When talk about investigation,
They
you're
investigated
talking about
McCabe's
Jeff
behavior.
Sessions' investigation,
No, not
or McCain's investigation.
McCabe. The Office of Professional Responsibility of the FBI investigated one of their own, Andrew McCabe. And they found that he violated, that he did not answer questions with candor, with appropriate candor, which means the truth, okay? And recommended he be fired because he did authorize leaks that were not authorized to be leaked. He encouraged it, and then he lied about what he did. And then also, right here, his wife. I mean, how could he run? It's inconceivable. This is happening in our country, that a guy whose wife gets $700,000 from Hillary for her campaign in Virginia also is in charge of investigating Hillary, where he just benefited with all that money. It's pure insanity. Okay, it makes no common sense.
Yeah, if that proven true, that
it's
is
proven.
proven true.
Yeah.
Of course, the
Yeah.
investigation.
It just
is in
doesn't make
question.
sense,
It's in
yeah.
question. I'm only worried about the fact that since his presidency started, how many altogether he fired? Have you done any number
no,
checking?
Well, you know what? I love this president, and when he finds somebody, like for example, Rex Tillerson, who I think was a fine Secretary of State, a dedicated America, believed in the Constitution, believed in serving the people of America, not serving himself.
All right.
They just had too many things they disagreed upon, and if you're in the president's cabinet, this president is happier than any president I can ever dream of to hear opposing opinions or variant opinions, and then he absorbs them all and then makes his own decision. For example, now the chief economic advisor who was gone is now going to be replaced by Larry Kudlow. I've listened to Larry Kudlow for 30 years on TV and reading stuff, and he disagrees with President Trump on many things. He's highly respected, and President Trump highly respects his input. So there will be things they disagree on also. But if there's somebody in the administration, I would rather not have mediocrity or insufficient people serving in the cabinet, that if the president doesn't think he's doing a good time. You guys here always are interested in upgrading, getting good people.
Of course, yeah.
So it's normal.
Yeah.
But see, the worst thing is a
And,
president that doesn't get rid of somebody and keeps them because they like
I'm
them.
listening for you to finish the statement.
I'm done.
And well, of course, it's my.
Remember, you're supposed to tell me shut
I
up.
know. You're supposed to respect your right of expression, or freedom of expression.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, my dear audience, today with me is my good friend Ken Hemming, who I trust a lot, who I always use as the weight to keep myself from falling to the left. He is only a weight here on the balance, right? Oh, I'm kidding. Anyway, here's more important than that. Let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, we'll continue right there. Stay with us. Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audiences. Today we're doing our weekly update with the G&E TV on the East West Show. It's our norm for every Friday for at least a year and a half already. So with me, my friend Ken Hemming, a wonderful individual who I respect a lot, in spite of the fact that I disagree with him quite some time. I like him a lot. I love him, in other words, because he loves the show, he loves the community. So welcome back to the show.
Love being here, and your viewers
Mr.
are
Ken
my
Hemming.
family.
What a loud name. All right, good. Yeah. Now, with all due respect,
Yes.
right? Let me ask you one question,
Yes, sir.
one generalized question. Do you think it's a sign of a healthy government when during 1 year of time firing this many people at one time?
If necessary, then it's healthy. If they were mistakes in firing somebody, then it's not wisdom. So it's either wisdom or it's not wisdom. And also,
Or I should replace it with another word, not safety, say stability. How about that?
Well,
a sign of stability.
I think our president's mind is stable. And he interact. You can only interact with your cabinet too so often in certain ways, and all the way. I mean, in my life, if I didn't do a good job, someone should fire me. And there's reasons, and it's not. We're not even saying that Rex Tillerson did a bad job. He didn't do a bad job. He got a lot of respect around the world. Mm-hmm. But then his opposition to these tariffs was so strong, in that it's really not too intelligent.
You think his replacement is better than him?
We'll find out. Oh yeah, I do actually, because let me tell you that his replacement, Pompeo, he was #1 graduate at West Point in his West Point class. He was #1 graduate of Harvard Law School. Now that doesn't mean he's better, but he is smart. So that I don't have anything. I can't say that. But he is more aligned in his philosophy, which we're going to learn about in about a month when the Iran deal comes up again.
Is he? Do you mean that he is more loyal to Donald Trump?
No, they think more alike on issues. I think the Iran deal was treasonous. You send them $1.8 billion in cash that's coming back in terrorist activities, killing our Americans. That's insanity.
Okay, enough on that.
But so we'll see. I think they think more along.
Yeah. Now that we talk about this many of firings or instability, or you call it stability, do you expect Donald Trump to run successfully for his next term?
Of course.
You think so?
Of course.
You think there will be enough supporters to let him continue?
Are you bringing more money home, Jack, with your same salary now than you were before? Do you want to vote against that? Do you want to vote against a vibrant economy?
I never voted.
That doesn't matter.
I never voted.
Yeah, well,
I left the page. I left the presidential page flipped over without touching it.
And I don't think you should ever do that again.
I went to local
right.
directly.
I don't think you should do that again. We have an obligation. We're citizens. One of our things is participate in the process and vote.
Okay, now, and that reminds
I'd rather have you vote for Hillary than not
that
vote.
reminded me for one thing. Now that these two parties are playing their partisanship that much, though, the other day when I had a nice conversation with a friend of mine, he says that it is time for the United States to have the third or the fourth party, so that the constituents might have the second choice or third choice. Do you think that stands for some kind of good idea? What?
Well, it could dilute the strength of the country. If you like in Europe, they have several, like Germany, they have a lot of parties over there. Yeah. And how's that working for them? Not so great. Okay, but I'm open to anything that has as its foundation continuation of the words in our Constitution, Bill of Rights, and the continuation of our country, which is based on individual liberty. This is what we're losing, individual liberty, and that's something that's happened on Facebook recently, which we could talk about, but also individual liberty is what it's all about. Each individual here, in a way, is sovereign. You're supposed to have enough freedom to determine your own destiny. And a big government reduces individual liberty. And that's all I care about, is that each person has the same freedom and the ability to make their decisions and not be subject to tyranny and choices, believing the government can determine your life and your death better than you do yourself.
In other
That's
words,
all I care about.
In other words, to answer the question directly, you
Yeah.
think there is a chance or big chance that the United States might be run by 3 parties or even 4.
Well, it wouldn't be run by that, but it would be. Yeah, there could be people. Well,
They're running
right now
turns.
there are
running
3.
turns.
There
Running
are
turns.
independents.
Now that they are in the impasse, right?
Yeah.
They are in the impasse. They're kind of deadlock on lots of issues. What if the 3rd party or the 4th party kicks in and say, "Hey, break off, and here's the deal. Let's do it this
We've
way."
never had a president before just so detested for no valid reasons. The only reason is because Hillary lost, and it stopped the ruination of America begun during the 8 years of Obama's socialistic agenda. And and I think it's going to end up that way anyway. If you keep getting immigrants in here and you give them stuff to get their votes, it's going to be run by one party, a Democratic dictatorial party.
Neither do I mean that I support Hillary, nor did I say that Obama time was not a havoc. Right.
Correct.
Right. Good. I'm saying that what we should do now, and what we're seeing on a day-to-day basis, is that what the United States, Americans wanted.
See, the best thing is like go back to when we had Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton, Republican and Democrat, and they worked together. They accepted each other. Right now, we've just never had hate. We talk about it all the time. It's a word I can't conceive of the hatred.
That's another subject, yes.
I can't conceive of the hatred. It's like, I'm just kind of, they just are upset because President Trump pulled off a phenomenal upset nobody saw coming, except I did. I believed he'd win because I thought there were thousands and thousands at his rallies and nobody was at Hillary's. I says, there's people that don't go to rallies, they're going to vote for him. But I just don't know why, like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, why we can't happily negotiate. And we should be able to. And if hate's out of it, and you've got the ideology has just gone too far from what America has been.
Okay. That's another issue
It's a
because
new,
the other day
it's a new ideology.
the other day I did share my thought with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
His name is Mr. Joe Shamas.
Yes, sir.
He is running for Congress.
Great.
And his whole point that makes lots of sense to me is that while they play politics, let's play humanism.
Well, that's all correct.
Let's act like a human.
But everybody, almost everybody that gets in the Senate and the House Representatives, they just get corrupted with power. That's why we need term limits.
And
we have help with term limits.
And that's exactly why we need a 3rd party or even the 4th party to kick in to balance it. Because these two kind of impasse. They're kind of in a deadlock.
But it didn't used to be
they get nothing done.
It never used to be that bad.
No, I know, but
it never used to be that bad, right.
You always can bring different issues to the one.
Okay.
The one, I'm not talking about how long the history is. I am talking about now that we see clearly that the two kind of like in the deadlock, in the impasse, when nothing could be done. Take the DACA issue and 11 million of undocumented versus the wall issue. Could there be a 3rd party thinking, okay, let's do it this way? Right?
Well, you have to pass laws, and that has to be signed by a president. So, but we do have a 3rd party. It's called the Independents, and there are independents in the House of Representatives.
Yeah, I know. It's about time, all right? It's about time.
Yeah.
My dear friends, we wish to do everything in one show because there are politics to talk about. There's also philosophy to talk about.
That's right.
And
that's more important.
Speaking of philosophy, you always have to have a job to do to protect justice. Yeah. What is the justice? And we really have a big question. With me today is my good friend, Mr. Ken Hamming, on the weekly update, which is delayed because of vacation. And let's wrap up for this segment. When we come back, we probably want to talk about the past 2 days with lots of shootings and even bombing incident, or even the bridge collapse.
That was terrible.
It was terrible. So we'll be right back, please. Hello, dear friends, my lovely fellow Americans. Welcome back to the show talking about America. I have a feeling, because people in my position always automatically think about the America we see today versus the America that we came for 30, 40 years ago.
Yes,
Such as
sir.
in my case, I don't know who to blame. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with America. Or the other day they say, it is because of the advancement of the media, so everything went unreported.
It contributes.
Whereas in the past, well, there are lots of things unreported,
Right.
went by unreported. If that is the fact, of course, I'm happy. I'm happy, right? Point is that by extent, by ratio, will not go that much, right? What I see is that they have lots of problems. There are lots of problems. There are problems such as the bridge collapse, somebody negligence, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and well, the thing is, the bridge collapsed on people, and there's 8 or 9 dead, and they had seen a crack in the bridge, but they still let people walk on it. They said
no.
they didn't. No, that's true.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't. They didn't think that it was going to be dangerous. Obviously, nobody does it on purpose, but they should have at least not allowed the foot traffic. People weigh a lot of weight. Okay, everybody eats McDonald's. Okay, so the bridge can only take so much weight. All right, I shouldn't walk on one, and so there will be lawsuits that have already been starting to come in. It's real sad though, when there was a recognition of potentially an engineering mistake or a construction
When
mistake.
accident happens, of course, people do not blame the accident. People do blame who could be responsible for it.
Well, but
Right.
accidents do happen. There are accidents that are just accidents that
Caused by a natural disaster.
just by whatever,
Caused by
breathing.
Yeah,
Almost, you know?
by act of nature or
Yeah.
something like that. Okay, now.
But here
we're
they had
talking about
evidence.
here. The news says it. News has it that the bridge at that very moment was under a test of impact.
Right, because they saw the cracks.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
will do it. So and then the funny part is that during the test, during the experiment, the test, they still have traffic flow underneath
On top.
and on top.
Yeah, they did.
And on top, right?
Yeah.
So now, when you call a test, there are 50-50 chances. What if it passes, right? What if it doesn't pass?
Well, failure doesn't mean it collapses, but this was a collapse. Yeah.
And then what if it collapses? So
Then you have a
you
tragedy.
should clear the street.
Right.
Click the
Absolutely.
street, all the
Nobody
traffic,
should have been
everything,
walking
and
under it
then
when you're
do
checking it.
and do the checking,
Right.
something like that. That's the big failure. I believe somebody goes to jail for that.
Well,
Has to.
It's at
Has
least
to.
manslaughter.
Has to, yes, has to.
Yeah.
Involuntary manslaughter.
Right.
Somebody has to go to jail for that.
Very, very,
Right.
very. But see, there are people dead right now that were alive 3, 4
Yes,
days ago,
you're
whatever
right,
it
you're
is,
right, you're right.
and it really burns my heart in pain.
Okay, now, if those things are caused by minor mistakes of people, though negligence speaking, right?
Major mistakes, yeah.
Negligence, so how do you explain about a bombing in Austin?
In Austin, well,
And
okay.
the
Well, here's one
gun-
thing.
The school shooting in Maryland. And
Right.
there is one this morning in California, Westwood, right? So how do you
Explain it.
explain it? Please, what's happening?
Evil exists. Evil exists.
Why we didn't have that many evils in the past?
I think it's because number one, the country is going so far left, and there are not great value systems in the individuals that truly believe, that are radical leftists, believe in Saul Alinsky, believe in socialism, that those things don't work, okay? And then our school system is horrible. Okay, right now there's a guy when they had all the students walking out, because we don't like guns, and one kid had a sign, guns don't kill, people do, and they had the principal of the school put him in the back of a police car. This is insanity. It's insanity.
Okay.
So evil exists.
You
all
want
right?
me? Yeah, you want me?
Oh,
I agree. I agree with you.
This is the last thing is also for everybody that guns are no good. Guns are no good. I've always said, and we have too. You can make bombs and blow them up. And so this is somebody else's, like Ted Krasinski. Way back.
When you were little, do you play the Caesar rap?
Sure, of course.
And
That's
the
fun.
rock.
Yeah.
Do you play that?
Yeah.
Right. So now the three, right?
Yeah.
A pair
Rock,
of
scissors, and paper.
Scissor and no paper.
It's paper.
Or paper. Okay, let's do
Wraps
paper,
around.
right? Okay. They are.
Glad I remember.
They are three contradictions.
Yeah. Right.
Who contradicts the other?
Right.
One another.
Who
like
overcomes
that.
the other? Yeah.
Who overcomes the other?
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, nothing of the three overcomes the rest.
Yeah.
There's always an enemy, right?
Right.
The Caesar cuts the paper,
Right.
paper wraps the rock,
Yeah.
rock kills the Caesar.
You're good.
Something
You're
like
good.
that, right? Now,
You're
okay,
good.
now, gun, bad people, good people. No, good people, bad people, gun. How about that?
Okay.
Right? Good people, bad people, gun.
Yeah.
They are the three existence, right? The existence of the three is not a problem. Like the Caesars, the rock,
Right.
and the paper.
Sitting there by themselves.
Yeah, they sit there by themselves.
Right. They're just resting.
Right. The Caesar cuts nothing.
Right.
If there's nobody put
There's
a
no
paper,
paper.
in there, right?
Right,
There is
right.
no paper.
Right.
Something like that. Okay, now, here, good guy, bad guy, guns.
Yeah.
Right? So now, what causes the three to function that much, to work that much? I didn't agree a while ago, like say 2 months ago, when you mentioned the word hatred.
Yeah.
Now I start to see the hatred. It's the hatred that makes the three working,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Against each other. Not for each other.
Good guys hate the bad guys. Bad guys hate the good guys, and then gun comes in. All right. Now, question: what has caused the hatred?
Well, I think it's a lot of things. I think our school system, I think number one of the biggest causes, Jack, is the breakdown of the American family, where you used to had dinner together and you weren't sitting there looking at something stupid, when you're talking to, and you don't even talk to your mother or father anymore. That this media thing has been a tremendous disaster because it's allowed people to spew their hatred all around, like throwing peanut butter on a wall, without any feedback, which builds upon each other. It's really
People
so
do
school,
not-
the breakdown of the family.
People do not communicate like the way they used to do. A husband works home.
Right. Hi, honey.
And,
oh, yeah.
No,
Then they sit
saying,
down and look at that
honey,
stupid
honey,
thing.
I'm back.
Yeah, right.
And ding, there goes the respond.
Right.
Dinner is ready on the table.
Yeah. Oh, that's so bad, Jackie.
I'm in the shower,
It's,
something like that.
It's so bad. Yeah.
Right? So people do this.
Yeah.
Like now. And this is the one thing. And on the other, why is there so much hate? Why people hate? Hate for what?
They hate because they don't like America's Constitution as we have performed over centuries, and they think that America, with its freedom and capitalism, has been the cause of so many problems around the world. When really we've saved
If we recall,
peace and we've saved tyranny.
3 days ago there is the 99% stuff, right? There's the Occupy.
Yeah.
Remember the Occupy movement?
Oh, that was
And
disastrous.
then it came being replaced by the Whose Life Matters,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
And then another one, Me Too.
Right. Yeah.
It's go on
You're good,
and
Jack.
on and on.
Yeah.
And our ideology is being replaced, number one, by a self-centered society. And number two, of no trust at all to anybody. People don't trust each other, even among kids, right? School is supposed to be a place, I would say, one of the most peaceful place.
Of interaction.
Interaction.
Not looking at your
lots
thing.
of, right?
Right.
And then there are bullies.
Yeah, I mean, not a big percent, but there are bad people. There are bullies.
There are
yeah.
bullies. And then do you think the shooters, right? Most of them, I mean the kids shooters, the student shooters, are the ones bullied.
Yeah, they're probably, yeah, they think they're a victim. They do believe
Yeah,
they're a victim.
they're bullied.
And a lot of them, most of them don't come from a nice, normal, loving
Okay,
family,
all right,
Christian
good,
family.
good.
And so they reaching out
then-
through their hatred
And
grows
then
through the social media
failure to interfere.
on our part.
Yes, on our part,
Right.
on societal,
Right.
Societal
To
job.
properly recognize those that have that could happen.
Like this guy of Florida guy,
Right.
the school shooter. I hate to mention his name.
We
though.
don't. I don't even
He
remember it.
He doesn't even deserve a name.
No, I don't remember his name. I
They
refuse
had
to.
him on the list already.
Oh,
They were about a day or two somewhere away to have him detained.
look, the FBI, the federal government, the local police that went to the house 20 to 40 times, and the school, they said, you can't have a backpack here because we're afraid of you.
Mm-hmm.
That was just really a tragedy.
That was a stupid move.
All-
Detain him at that very point.
Of
That will
course.
save 17 lives.
Yeah.
Okay, now once again, on the other hand, they had 4 armed officers on the campus, and the officers, none of them, well,
Well, I call
confronted.
them the Broward cowards,
Yep.
but particularly the one guy.
Yep.
And they have video of him standing outside while he could hear all the stuff going in, and he knew
And there
he wouldn't go in.
No,
He
2
was a
refused to
coward.
go in, and the other 2 kind of hid themselves behind their cars.
Well,
And when
first
he
of all, the guy
investigated-
that was on duty there,
Yeah.
he,
When investigated, they say they were trained that way, not to tackle the problem, not to confront the problem, to stay alive.
I don't believe that. Okay, I don't believe him. Okay,
Yeah.
Because look at these guys. At that shooting, teachers jumped in front of kids
Okay,
and took bullets for them.
If that is true, or that was true, did that indicate that the government fails to protect its own kid?
You know,
On the
it
one
just-
hand, we are in a society, when the society doesn't do a job, recognize the problem, and on the other, the same thing, in the same society, government fails to
You know,
protect the people.
law enforcement people are not trained to stand behind a tree safely until the bullets, until there's no more bullets.
They're the
You
ones
go
who are
in.
paid to go in
Look
line.
at 9/11. Look at the cops
Look
and
at
firemen.
Look at the firefighters. Look at the
Unbelievable.
firefighters. Right, they are remembered. They are
Unbelievable
heroes,
brave
right?
men.
So
Doing their job.
now, are you making more dollars than I am? Right, of course.
That doesn't even matter.
Do you have better benefit than I have?
Yeah.
Well,
I have no
Why
benefits.
we do that? Why would taxpayers do that? Because you run your own life in line. Now it is the moment to run. You back up. Are you a coward? Or are you not?
Well, that's right. Man
Do
up
you
or
betray
man
your
down.
your duty? Right.
Right,
That's a personal issue. All right.
Yeah.
Now we have societal, we have a governmental, we have personal issues all together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one last thing I used to, I want to share with you. I used to go against the, not the gun right, I will say, I used to be a proactive of gun control.
Okay.
Now that we see enough of failure, including the government failure to protect its own kid though,
Right.
probably I'm shifting myself.
Assume your own control of your own
Yeah.
life. and
I would
protect
assume
yourself.
that we need to arm schools.
Well, we need to arm ourselves, Jack. You know, literally, there's 7,000
sure.
things a year that.
In spite of the fact that I myself do not want a gun, I have no problem now for people to have a gun to protect themselves because the
Right.
government failed doing their job.
Right. Yeah. It comes.
I'm one step closer to you.
Yeah.
Right, I'm heading
Well,
your
because
way.
you want to live, you want to survive.
Let's make some sense.
Make some sense.
Make some common sense.
Now, and of course, underlying all of this to your
At the
viewers,
moment-
people have to be well
At the
trained,
moment, at
know
the
how to
moment,
safely
at the moment,
use a
at the
gun.
moment, I take my money out of my pocket
Yeah,
to pay my tax.
Yeah.
The agreement says that we will protect you. Was that right?
right. Well, and that's the number one job of the President of the United States is to protect the country. Okay, and
Well,
that's why
anyway.
we're building up. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
we're going to. Trump said today that he's going to be meeting. He called Putin, Vladimir Putin in Russia, congratulated him on his fixed election, of course, which is fine.
Whatever.
But they're going to get together fairly soon. The president said to talk about arms race and try to minimize it.
I like him better for him to meet those people rather than
Me too.
calling names.
Me too.
Okay. Now, my dear friend, we're a little over time. We always over time with Ken Hemming.
Yeah.
And he is a chatterbox. Me too.
Yeah, we
both
are. We're dangerous.
Yes. We love the fact that we covered a lot for this weekly update. So, my dear friends, thank you very much for watching. Oh, if you like my show, please write your feedback to tellmydj@gmail.com. Tellmydj@gmail.com. I will personally attend to it, and I will probably write back to you in person. And if you have recommendations or suggestions or even criticism, go ahead, speak up, right? Let's be a family.
Right.
Let's be the ones all love the community. Let's cultivate our community.
Right.
Right. So
We're with you.
me, my appreciation goes to my friend Ken Hemming.
Thank you,
Thank
Jack.
you very much for attending. Thank you very much
Our honor.
for sharing, and thank you for arguing with me.
Thanks to your people. Thank you. Right.
Okay, good.